Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Antonio Alanis, and I welcome you today to the seventh episode called Writing an Artist Statement. And this episode is part of my series called 12 Steps to Establishing Your Work, or rather, exhibiting your work in galleries as a beginner artist. So, if you're new here, welcome. I have been creating this series to invite and talk with beginner artists who have not had the chance to exhibit, or maybe people who have exhibited in the past, but people who want to have more information around what does it mean to exhibit in galleries. So I'm super excited to welcome you all and talk about my process as an artist who started exhibiting in galleries since about 2016. So, to give you some background information, and I've covered this before, I am an artist that has been participating in galleries for the past 8 to 10 years. And I don't have major in art. I did not go to college to major in art. I have a bachelor's in Spanish. And all the information that I'm sharing is information that I wish I had when I was essentially getting out into the world of art. So I've done many exhibitions, and in those exhibitions, one crucial piece is learning to write an artist statement. So what I'm going to share today is my experience in writing an artist statement with some things that I really wish I knew before and other things that I have gained over the years. Without further ado, let's start with the first part, how to write an artist statement. First, let's start with defining what an artist statement is and why it's crucial for gallery submissions. An artist statement, don't let it essentially confuse you. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be something as clear or as to the point as a description of your art. Essentially, what do you want the world to know about your work? It's really what I consider can share the behind the scenes or the story that can unite all of your work. Think about it this way. If you go to a new gallery, an exhibition, and you begin to see 10 to 15 pieces, and you begin to think about the colors and the themes that you are experiencing and seeing, but you may be wondering, what does it mean? Or maybe what does the artist want to share to the world? And this is how you will be able to do that, by looking at an artist statement or listening, or rather, having an artist statement in front of you. An artist statement is usually, I like to say, a page long, 500, 300 words of a description of your work. And essentially, it's something that you'll be sharing not only when you apply to gallery exhibitions, but it's also great to have on your website as well. So that, again, people can come and see, okay, this is what Antonio's work looks like, or what he likes to express in his pieces. I think it's crucial to have an artist statement to be a connection between what the audience or the members who see your work with your work. And it can be a bridge so that they can understand it. I haven't been or I'm not aware of other parts of artist statements that may be out there. I'm sure that people have novel ways or different ways of exhibiting and writing artist statements. And one of my biggest things is that you can always learn about an artist statement somewhere else. If you're having trouble or even starting, even thinking about what does your work mean, I consider, or I would encourage you to look at other artist statements as well, so you can have a better idea. So, again, don't stress about it. It's something that can evolve. One of the biggest things that I wish I knew when I was starting out is I didn't realize that the artist statement would change and would essentially shift throughout my career and throughout my life. What I wrote as an artist about what my art means or meant back in 2016 does not exactly mean the same thing now in 2024. My life has changed and my practice has matured in these past 8 years. My artist statement is not the same. Let's start with how to think about an artist statement and what possible things you may need to start writing one. This is point number 2 in how to start thinking about an artist statement. And this is really the biggest and easiest things I can say is write your artist statement in the third person, meaning talk about yourself as if you were not talking about yourself, as if a friend were to talk about your work. For example, in my case, Antonio Alanis, his work explore immigration, identity, living in a bilingual, bicultural, southern United States. And we can go on and on about what this means. And notice that I didn't write it like I am Antonio Alanis and my work examines this. Writing it in the third person has helped me, and it's been an exploratory way of doing this. Maybe you are wondering, what kind of things do you want to talk about? This is where you really have the liberty to choose what you want to focus on. As I was mentioning before in my artist statement example, I mentioned some of the themes that some people not only have also studied in their work or portray in their work, and themes that I portray in my work. If you were here in previous episodes or previous segments, think about what kind of themes your work explores. Is it immigration? Is it living in a bicultural, bilingual environment in the United States, in South, in North Carolina? Think about what is it that really ties all your work together. As a Latino artist, I've always been interested in how the arts can help us understand one another, how art can be used as a tool to bring us together, and also think about some of the biggest issues, or not some, but all of the issues that are impacting our immigrant communities in the state of North Carolina. That is an example of the things or the themes that I'd like to explore. If you're just starting out, you don't have to be or feel pressure to have something in a way that it's succinct and to the point. For me, it took me years to get to essentially explain my themes and the purpose of my work. It's a beautiful opportunity for you to think, and the easiest thing to do is start writing something fast. Grab a sheet of paper, think about all the things that you are happy to portray in your work, and even make a list. So think about what motivates your work. What is it that you like to do? What is it that you like to explore? In 2024, I've seen some artists who are exploring themes such as states of being, things like grieving, things that are still happening to us in 2024 and to them. I've seen themes of death. I've seen themes of essentially self-exploration. So many themes that I would love to tell you more about, but it would take a long time. What's crucial for you to think about is what's something that moves you? What's something that you are happy to create and something to communicate to the world? That'll be the first thing. And after you have a brainstorming session and you have a list of what is it that your work means to you, you can start creating an introduction. This will be the third step. Think about the key components of an artist statement. The introduction, usually I have my name, something about what is it that makes my work, and it's not like an essay where we have a thesis or anything like that. I just like to talk about what is it that my work is about, and then I elaborate on the paragraphs after that. I can give you something else like what I just told you a few minutes before, and then in the next 2 to 3 paragraphs, I can elaborate on immigration, on biculturalism, on bilingualism, on the themes that are impacting our immigrant communities in North Carolina. That could be one thing, and then I can end it with how art can be used as a tool for understanding and also hopefully bringing justice to the communities that I belong to. That's where you can have an outline with the introduction And then the remaining paragraphs can talk about the introduction more in depth. Like an essay when we were back in high school or even college, when we divided the typical, 5 paragraph into an introduction, a conclusion, and then everything in the middle were supporting details. Think about those things and thematically divide your work into what is it? What does it do? What does your art mean? Any mediums? What is your medium? Do you use painting? Are you using anything, for example, are you a digital illustrator? What is your work? Or what does your work come from? Where do you do your work? It can be really helpful to even include some of the techniques. So what is it that the techniques that you use? Is it something that maybe people don't know about? Are you using a particular approach to whatever practice you have? Are you using a topic or maybe an explanation of another culture of how you're doing your work? For example, if I were to be a papel picado artist, I would talk about what papel picado is and go more into depth about what does it do, what does it represent. Just be mindful, essentially an introduction about what you want the world to know about your work and what you want your work to convey to the reader. Some things that I can tell you about writing an artist statement is make it yours. Make it succinct. You don't have to write a whole essay or a whole novel or anything like that. You can just write 5 paragraphs simply, and that can be enough for the artist to communicate or you to communicate to the audience. If the audience wants something more or wants to learn more about you and what you stand for, you can send them to your website. And then hopefully you have more information there, such as something more in depth or maybe a report or some blog post that you want people to learn more about. So that would be the biggest thing about how to write an artist statement. Let's talk about point number 4. Let's say that you were thinking about writing an artist statement for a gallery that's coming up. Typically, I don't tailor my statements or artist statements to each submission, only because my work does not change or the themes don't change throughout my practice. If I were to do something different, for example, I'm a visual artist, illustrator who works in digital media, I will talk about that in my artist statement. But if I were to completely change my trajectory or my focus as an artist and not be an illustrator and move for a papel picado craft or way of art, I would definitely change my work to a papel picado, and therefore my art statement would talk more about papel picado. This is not like a job application that I've submitted tailored artist statements to them. I've done my same artist statement, and just like my CV, as I talked about in previous points, I like to update my artist statement once a year, depending on maybe find more words or I find better ways of conveying what my work means. You don't have to tailor it, but if you want to tailor it to maybe a new exhibition every time you submit it, go for it. There's no one stopping you. And I think too that a benefit of having different artist statements is that maybe you can pick and choose. Maybe you can think about an artist statement that evolves from different mediums or evolves from different ways that you focus your work. That's something that you would have options when not only to think about your work in different perspectives, but also maybe having work that will just show you growth as an artist. You will have options. That's the biggest thing. Some tips about writing an artist statement: a continuation, be clear, be concise, use your authentic voice. I don't think that when I've written my artist statements, I've always tried to be myself because that's the person that I know. And I've always used words that resonate with me, words that I use in my daily practice, in my daily life, so that other people can also see that. Being concise, you don't have to write long. Usually some galleries will have a limit of how long your art statement can be or should be, which I think it's about 500 to 1,000 words. And again, be yourself. I think that as artists, we have the beautiful opportunity to talk about our work so that other people can know more about that. I think that's a beautiful opportunity for people to understand. Now, some things that I've seen and things that I have avoided in my art statement is using jargon or very complex or flowery language. Jargon can be anything from specialized language about the work that I'm doing and using complex language that talks about things that I have no idea. I have seen some art statements, and I have to be honest with you, some of the things that I've read on the walls have been unbelievably confusing. I don't know if it's something with art or the way that art is in the 21st century or where people are right now as a development of artists, that they make their language so inaccessible that it's hard to learn about it or understand what is it that you want or someone else wants to communicate about their work. I find it extremely, just in my opinion, I would not want people to be excluded from how people understand my work. Having learned and taught Spanish, and I speak it fully, bilingually, I've learned about how language can be used as a way to exclude others and how it can be used as a control and not include people in conversations. This is one thing that it's up to you to decide how accessible you want your language and your work to be for others. And it's really up to you to think about what kind of focus you want other people to have about you and what clarity and what expression you want other people to know about your work. You can definitely go on to my website at antonioalanisart.com, and there is a page, a tab in my website that I have artist statement and bio, and you can go in and read my artist statement. You can compare maybe to other examples that you are writing about or maybe other artists, and I think it's a good example or opportunity for you to see a real artist statement in action and how I use it on my website and my work. Just be succinct, to the point. Another thing would be, and we'll talk more about that in the next episode, so make sure you come back, because one of the biggest things in writing an artist statement is that you are writing about your work only and not about yourself. We talked more about the introduction about the 12 steps to exhibiting your work in galleries as a beginner artist. Introduction. In the first part, think about your artist statement as writing about your work, and on the artist bio, think about writing about you as an artist, as someone, as a person, not talking about your work, but maybe some connections between both. Some common things that I would like to express when you create your artist statement, as with anything else that people write or you may write, consider having someone else reading and proofreading your work. It's super important not to have typos. Make sure that you get feedback from people, because once it's printed, whether it's on a wall or in a folder or in a binder or wherever people may store an artist statement, you want to give people the best impression. Just be aware about that. If you're writing an artist statement or looking at an artist statement for the last few hours or maybe a few days, give yourself some distance from it. Make sure that you don't completely write something that is not strong. Make sure that you are taking your time and can take time off, and you can catch some of these errors, such as typos and things like that. Be aware about those kinds of things. Get feedback from people. If you have any friends, any mentors, or any peers that are working with you who may be interested and available, reach out to them. Say, hey, there's this gallery I want to apply to. Are you open to proofreading and looking at my artist statement briefly and give me your opinion about how it looks like to you? That can be an opportunity for other people to help out. And I think I've really found a lot of amazing opportunities to learn from other experienced artists. If you have the chance, definitely send it out to them and ask them. I do want to give you some examples. In the previous work that I've submitted in the previous episode, we talked about how to take an artist photograph. And this time, we want to talk about, or rather, I want to give you an example about the artist statement that I'm using in 2024 as an artist. The first thing is, if you're watching this episode in earlier years or before 2020, after 2024, know that my artist statement may have changed and it's not the one that I have. I will give you an example. I'm going to link my website so that you can have access to this artist statement. Let's begin. My artist statement as September 2024 reads like this. It says, Antonio Alanis is a Mexican-American artist raised in Durham, North Carolina. His nonprofit management and teaching background interest enable him to use the visual arts to build bridges between diverse cultures. He uses his Mexican-American background, education, formation, and passion for the visual arts to create a cultural awareness about Latin America and people in the South. The intersection between Latin American art and activism motivates him to use the arts as a conduit to strengthening his Hispanic, Latinx, Latino community in North Carolina. It's not too complicated or long. It has a two-part, which is the following. He seeks to strengthen the connection between people of all backgrounds. Antonio uses the visual arts to explore themes such as belonging, growing up Latino or Latinx, home and identity in a multicultural South. As an acrylic and oil painter, he enjoys portraying uplifting Latinx characters that celebrate the cultural richness, beauty, and humanity of Latinx people throughout North Carolina through painting and graphic design. A visual storyteller, he enjoys using the arts to springboard conversations centered around cultural similarities rather than differences between groups of people. This would give you an example of a working artist and his artist statement. And this would be mine. I invite you to visit my website to see what other connections you may have or may later find out about me as an artist. This is one example. There are so many other examples. If you have an artist that you admire, you can log on to the website and think about what is it that you like about them. Maybe you can consider using theirs as a model, not to copy word for word because we're not trying to plagiarize and steal people's ideas and words. Look at artists, how they write their artist statement. What is it that they are creating? Maybe do you like a cadence of their sentences? Maybe do you like the way they are breaking down the paragraphs? How many words they use? Think about those kind of things and how you would like to use them in your artist statement. The artist statement is how you talk about your work to the world. When you submit your application, usually you will create a PDF or a digital document that you can send to the people that will read your application. And that brings us to the conclusion or the final part of the video. Some things to think about and keep in mind about the artist statement is to not be discouraged if you are starting out and you have no idea how to write one. I'm really hoping that if you put the words that I just shared with you into action and think about what works best for you, can hopefully begin to help you have a stronger artist statement. If it feels challenging, it's fine. I think it's part of growing up as an artist and all the things that are part of our development and growth. It's a process that takes time, takes practice. You don't have to feel rushed or pressured. We're not doing perfection here. Think about all the things that you want to share to the world. I really would love for you all to let me know what you think in the comments below about the artist statement, if there's something that you want to learn more about, and maybe we can make some more videos about that. And I would love to invite you all to my website, AntonioAlanisArt.com, and also stick around because in the next episode, we are going to talk about how to write or create an artist bio. The artist bio, it's a compliment and it talks about you as an artist, not necessarily related to your work, but maybe how your life can influence your work. If it does, if not, that's fine. I really encourage you to stick around for that. Thank you so much for staying here and for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you until next time. Have a good rest of your day.